Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome to another edition of AFC North Talk. Oh, I feel like today's gonna be contagious. I think today's gonna be a good one. And you know how I know this? Let's show this graph. Have you remembered the last poll? It has been this close.
Because don't nobody know. Don't nobody know what to do.
Right? Literally, I cannot. I haven't checked the other ones. Can't remember one that this is all close. I mean, the Bengals, even though they're fourth, they're not there have been polls that the fourth team is 2 or 3%. Right?
Bengal fans kind of checked out after we did wide receiver. They were like, all right.
I gotta say though, they'll be back when we get to
have some self-awareness on this one.
By the way, I have to state those rankings look pretty good in my opinion. In my opinion, those rankings are pretty solid.
Okay. But before we get started, man, we did the Edge and now the Steelers go.
No, we got to redo it. We got to redo the episode. So we're going to do linebacker next week. Instead, what we're going to do on this week, guys, is we are actually going to go back and re-rank Edge now that my Pittsburgh Steelers, because last week, as we said, depth is a big issue. I said on the show, look, if you want to rank the Browns higher because of depth, certainly willing to do that. However, here we are 1 week later, Melvin Ingram is now a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do any of you want to change your rankings and put my Steelers rightfully atop the AFC North at the edge position?
You talking to me? Because I was the only one that didn't put the Steelers at 1.
No, I think Ace did. No, none of you did. You all put Browns.
Ace was with me?
I would have to
Sonny.
I did.
Because it comes down to Melvin Ingram and I think Jadeveon Clowney. And although Melvin Ingram, I had to look at it because I was like 0 sacks. What was going on? And I went back and looked, and apparently he had a knee injury week 7, spent some time out, tried to come back week 11, re-injured it.
Yeah.
So if I'm just going off of just names, like Melvin Ingram is, a great edge rusher in his own. I don't think that he's that much better than Jadeveon Clowney, but I know that he's probably a better pass rusher in terms of that. I think Jadeveon Clowney is a better run stopper. So for me, I would actually switch it to.
This is a great point.
To him.
You know what, Ace?
What?
That's a fantastic point.
No.
And
wait.
Back it up.
What evidence? You just mentioned that Jadeveon Clowney and Melvin Ingram pretty much had the same injury-riddled season last year, except for one's 28, the other one's 32, right. And one actually had sacks and pressures this year. Melvin Ingram only had pressures. Which, hey, look.
Clowney had no sacks. Clowney had no sacks.
He had 0 sacks.
They both had 0.
Oh, yeah, 0?
They both had
0. Melvin Ingram, 11th of all edge rushers last year in pass rush win rate. So when he's in one-on-one situations, the 11th best pass rusher in the league.
Do you want him to start?
Pass rush
Do you want him to start, Tony?
You're saying no. Of course not. Alex has
so good. You want him to start?
Don't start with this. I need your derail. And that's
you want him to start.
Let me say this.
He's the 11th. He's coming off the bench. He has the 11th highest pass rush win rate. Do you want him to start?
No, listen. This is beautiful for him, okay? Because at 32 years of age, the biggest question mark for him. Look at his snap count over the last 3 years. It's 700, then 400, then last year's 250, right? Then the snap counts are a problem. So if you can get that guy in for 20 snaps a game, come in relief. Look, Steeler fans will remember last year, TJ Watt just on the sidelines between series, just dying. Because he's exhausted because he's playing every snap out there, right? This is after Bud Dupree got hurt and they were, the third guy off the bench was Cassius Marsh, okay? The third guy off the bench now is no longer Cassius Marsh, it's Melvin Ingram. Listen, Steeler fans are right to be thrilled with this one. By the way, also, good thing we haven't done safety yet.
Better than Cassius Marsh replacement. I'm not going to argue with you there.
Malik Hooker coming soon to. I'm not reporting that, but Malik Hooker coming to Pittsburgh could be as early as tomorrow.
These are great names, but they're available in July for a reason.
Okay, but I will say this because I did rank the Browns first.
Mm-hmm.
For me, one of the main reasons was depth, right? I did mention that in the previous podcast. Now think about this: T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett. Let's we I think, well, at least I said, like, let's assume that they're a watch, right? Let's sake of
Shouldn't
argument.
even be getting
Incorrect.
relitigated.
You can't even get there. You
Okay.
can't even get there.
Okay,
I disagree with you already.
For my sake of argument, let's get a watch. Melvin Ingram, the problem with him is dependability, right? But so is Clowney. I think we established that, right? So now,
One's 32. One is 32. There's 4 years. He looked pretty done last year. But
Yeah, no, did not look done. As I said, did not look done. 11th in pass rush win rate. I mean,
okay. And then let's go
we
to
can't
number
deny
3.
reality.
Let's go to number 3.
Oh my God.
Tack
The one's that. Okay.
right? Tack
Oh,
and
Tack McKinley, who the best
and-
you can say about Tack McKinley is, like, he's
Wait,
been
give me a
disappointing.
Tack McKinley.
You were all on Tack McKinley like 3 months ago when you didn't have to rank these players.
What do
Your
you,
boy, Tony, your boy.
What?
I'm blanking his name.
Quincy Roche?
Charlotte. No, the guy. No.
Highsmith.
Oh, Alex Highsmith.
Thank you.
Well, my guy, by the way, my real guy is Quincy Roche, but
Okay.
we'll get there in preseason.
Anyway, I had to get the extra Highsmith over Tack. Tack is just name, right? At this point, he hasn't done anything. Highsmith looked better in 1 year than what Tack has done in Atlanta. He was disappointed in Atlanta, and then obviously the debacle last year. I don't know.
Tack had a better rookie year. Yeah, I mean, like, the rookie year was actual production there. I mean, you could argue it was similar to what Highsmith did, which is why I said maybe we should have taken Highsmith's production at the end of that year and be like, oh my God, he's going to be a premier pass rusher, like Tony was saying last week. But hey, look, we'll let this play out. I think this is going to be another Dante Moncrief signing, where Tony's going to be like, he's taking snaps away from Alex Highsmith.
You just got to keep his fingers.
Really
Don't break any of
it.
his fingers. We got to just put him all in splints now. Just
Yeah. He's a big name, but that he clearly wasn't Pittsburgh's first choice when it came to that big name. They did try to go with other guys before they did
Justin
go to
Houston,
Melvin Ingram. Yeah. So, there's some question marks about him. We all know the name Melvin Ingram, and it's going to bring some excitement, as well as like a Malik Hooker, right? Because we remember him as a top prospect. But when you're signing somebody July 20th right before camp, there has to be tempered expectations with that.
That's true.
Right. Like, the expectations can't be this guy's going to come in and be any fraction of what the name value suggests he might be. And I don't think they're expecting that or signing him to that kind of money.
Exactly. And this is why I think that it's so silly that there's been this debate on Twitter now. Like, is he going to start over Highsmith? There is not a single chance in hell that on opening day, Alex Highsmith is not out there on, to start. I mean, there's just no way that that's going to happen.
It might happen.
It would have to get hurt in preseason.
Mike Tomlin like to go with veteran. Yeah, Mike Tomlin kind of like doing that thing.
Mike Tomlin would have to lose his mind. I mean, he would have to absolutely to put out Melvin Ingram, knowing what we know about him again. And what Tomlin has learned in years past, or maybe he hasn't, about his teams falling apart late. How much of that has to do with you not being healthy, not being being exhausted at the end of the year?
I think that's about leadership. Melvin Ingram brings leadership, but you got to start him so he can be a leader.
Listen. Tomlin needs to learn this. If he's starting Melvin Ingram week 1, it is a gigantic mistake on his part.
But the thing is, I mean, we always get into who's the first guy on the field, right? Just because Melvin Ingram starts, that doesn't mean that he'll have more snaps than Highsmith. So, I mean, you could start, quote unquote, but if, Highsmith has more snaps throughout the game, then that's what really matters. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him but I would see Highsmith with more of the snap counts.
Exactly. That's better. That's a better measurement. Highsmith will have higher snap counts than Ingram, regardless of who starts.
Ingram will be in a pitch count, in theory.
Yes. Well, he better be. He better be, this is going to end up just like Quincy says, where it's going to be a very silly signing.
By week 5, Tony's going to be mad. And who's the defensive coordinator now?
Keith Butler's the coordinator, but
yeah, he's going to be very mad at Keith Butler, much like he was mad at Randy Fichtner. He's going to be like, I just don't get. I can tell you, I can do the Tony impression right now. I just don't get why they have Alex Highsmith on the bench. Melvin Ingram's out there. Yeah, look, I know he was 11th in pass rush run rate last year, but he's not this year. He's not good.
First of all, how dare you? Second of all, incorrect.
Okay, let's get to super chats here real quick. Rex Fortune says, which city had the best beer scene? And why is it Cleveland?
What beer comes from Cleveland? I don't even know. Pittsburgh has Iron City and Rolling Rock, which You know,
Rolling Rock's pretty terrible. But like
Rolling
Iron City, I've had a couple of that were decent there.
Yeah.
I'm not a big IPA or beer guy. You know, I'm still in my 20s, so I just drink liquor. So I don't care who has the best beers.
Yeah, I know Cincy's. I know the Cincy people are in the chat. I'm also not a huge beer drinker like that, but I know there are some places and breweries around the Natty. So you guys will have to be the judge of that. If you go on the road and watch the games and check them out, I am not a beer connoisseur.
Nah, dog. Cincinnati too close to West Virginia. They don't drink beer. They drink moonshine out there.
I'm trying to look up what the best beers in all these cities. I'm trying to look at Cleveland beers. By the way, search Cleveland beers.
Yeah, there's like Great Lakes Brewery.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's pretty much it.
I'm looking up Baltimore. Never heard of any of these either. And I'll go to Cincinnati.
Baltimore will tell you natty bows. That's what they will tell you. You know what a natty bow is?
No.
You don't know? Well, I guess I only learned it when I went to Baltimore. It's the logo is like and I'm part of my English, Pringles. The Pringles?
Pringles, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the logo for Natty Bows is very similar, right? And they used to be very big in Baltimore. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong for the people that are here in the chat. And then now they only can find them in the Ravens or Orioles Stadium. But people love them for some reason. I tried it once. I was not impressed, but again, I'm not a beer guy either. I'm more of a rum guy. Being from the Caribbean, rum with mixed juices. That's what I like. But yeah, that's just my taste. Anyway,
long story short, we drink liquor on this show. Straight liquor.
Oh man, Nick Lopez. If Miles and Watt are both Batman, Hightower and Melvin are both Robin. Okay,
right.
Clowney is Nightwing and Tack is Red Hood.
This guy, by the way, Nick is getting deep into Batman lore here, and I love it.
Yeah,
first of all, who still reads DC comics?
Don't start that. See, now our comment section is just going
to be. You're still talking about how the Snyder Cut need the sequel still, buddy?
The DC people, listen. The DC people are they are obnoxious, and our comment section.
You had 12 Batman series, and all of them were pretty except for the 2 that Chris Nolan made.
Batman's are pretty good, but I would say this: all the
Superman movies past 1980 are terrible.
Yeah,
all of them. They're all terrible.
Here we go.
I haven't watched.
You know what?
You're not wrong. Batman vs. Superman is the worst movie ever made.
Why does DC movies have to be like 8 hours long in order for you to get anything out of them? By the way, I don't get
they're
that.
So deep, dude. No, listen, you don't understand what Zack Snyder's trying to do. It's so deep. I don't know how.
Oh yeah, he shot it in 4:3. It's all picturesque. It's real beautiful. The Flash scene is too long.
The Flash scene when he shows up to talk to Batman randomly in the middle of that movie. Yeah, all right.
No. This terrible movie has been out for 2 years, 3 years now, and it's had 2 different theatrical releases. It's spoiler city on it. Okay, all right. Batman.
About the 4-hour movie.
I did hear that the Justice League cut, the Snyder Cut, is actually good. Although I just don't have it in me to watch it in 4 hours.
It's good in comparison.
Okay.
The Justice League by Josh Whedon. That is a mess. I will give everybody. That is one of the worst movies I have seen. That's like a big budget, supposed to be good movie. Justice League by Zack Snyder. At least it's coherent. It has a consistent tone, and the story makes sense. They're doing certain things. It shouldn't take 4 hours to get there, but I could understand if you watch Justice League and they were like, "This is your Avengers," and you had to wait for that 4-hour movie to come out. You'd be like, this is so much better. I love it. I wouldn't want to see.
What is your favorite DC movie? The recent
Dark Knight.
No Schumacher's Batman and Robin
with Joker.
Dark Knight. I think Batman is. Batman has a good couple solid ones. I was from the recent ones, the only one that I enjoy was Suicide Squad. To be honest.
What?
You like Suicide Squad?
I like it. I like it.
Goodness.
Sonny's disqualified from this conversation.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy.
No, he saved it because now the DC fanboys are going to hear him say that and go,
he's one of 5 people who actually like Suicide Squad.
I like it. And,
Will Smith. You must be a Will Smith fan.
I was gonna say that he's my favorite actor in the world. I think I said this before that he was one of the people that
don't tell me you like
taught me English, right? I watched Fresh Prince. I grew up watching Fresh Prince, and I learned through Will Smith. So I'm a huge Will Smith fan. I could be that, so I could be biased, but
you gotta admit though that After Earth was trash. Do you not say that After Earth was good?
I have not watched that.
After Earth. Nobody has seen After Earth.
Yeah, never seen it.
I never seen that movie.
It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie with both Will Smith and his child, Jaden Smith, I believe. Right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Jaden does play his son. Yeah. As bad as it sounds. It really is. But let's not get too far away from the topic of DC movies just being terrible. DC comics recently just being bad. I mean, really, when I think of somebody, your average DC comic book reader, I think of like a angsty, brooding 12-year-old who has like a lot of frustration to want to get out, and they just want everything to be more violent just cuz. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what DC movies are for. Like, 12-year-olds that think it's really grown up to have like comic books be super realistic, and then like you grow up and you're like, man, I don't want to see Batman murder 20 people. That's weird. This is a weird concept. But shout out to DC.
Hold on. You have to admit it was kind of funny when Batman's beating the crap out of all those guys, and then he literally hit someone over the head with a kitchen sink. Like he literally hit him with a kitchen sink. That was, I had to at least give Zack Snyder props for that. The absurdity. He lived it.
Hilarious.
I think all DC fans talk like Batman. Whenever
why did you say that name? Why did you say that name? That's the still.
I can't believe he disrespected DC Comics. I will avenge he. He's gonna troll me on Twitter for the next year because I'm talking bad about DC.
You're muted, Sonny. You're muted. You got to get this thing back on track. We are. I know. 20 minutes in, and we haven't talked about a single linebacker.
Fault. That is Batman's fault for bringing up Red Wing.
I can't super shout. Wait for you guys to derail the show. Remember that. So last thing I will say, my favorite DC moment was when Bane came to Heinz Field and destroyed that stadium. Right, and that for me was
Heinz Ward. Oh, it was like the Steelers. Yeah.
They filmed it. They filmed it all in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Heinz Ward was the player running while it was.
Yeah. Still didn't get tackled. Yeah. It's still just. Tough guy to get down.
Sneaky good. Always see it. It's my big smile on his face too.
No, by the way, I've seen Heinz Ward play in his career. No way he runs that fast to outrun an explosion.
Sneaky fast.
No way he's that fast.
So
the 4-7 Jets ain't running out these gunners.
sneaky 4-5 guy.
Justin Jimbo says, "Yo, Q, as a Brown fan living in Los Angeles, should I try to go to the Super Bowl this year or fly home and celebrate with them?"
No, you should. Right now. Hey, I want you to buy Super Bowl tickets right now. And fly
I mean, look, here's the benefit, right? If you do get the Super Bowl tickets and the Browns don't make it, you're going to make a killing off of them if you're able to get them. Yeah, you live in LA. It's not like you're flying out there. So that's a business property. If you actually like your friends, and you might want to go back to Cleveland because, even if they don't get there, you can hang out with your friends. But if you don't like your friends like that, try to get that ticket and make the money. That's my suggestion.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Train here says, what inside linebacker on each team are your teams do you think is flying under the radar and can surprise people? Okay, before we go very deep into that, I'm gonna say just mention one name each of you, and then we'll go like that. Tony, who do you think?
Okay, well, and I'll explain this more, but I think my guy is gonna be Devin Bush, and I know it's gonna sound very silly for me to say that, but it's Devin Bush.
Ace?
For me, it'd probably be Akeem Davis-Gaither.
Yeah.
Okay. Q?
I don't know. Josh, Jacob Phillips. I'm going to talk thoroughly about every linebacker on this round.
Okay. For the Ravens one, I think Malik Harrison doesn't get enough mention. We'll leave it at that. Tony's. This guy named Tony Serena says, "Welcome to DC Talk. Y'all are welcome."
Our new show. It's our new. We're the season. As you guys can all tell, this season needs to start like tomorrow, okay? Because this show is rapidly.
We're like one more episode away of like actually watching the Teen Titans series.
We're just gonna have live commentary. Suicide Squad. I want to watch Suicide Squad with Sonny so he can tell me why it's a good movie. That's what I want.
The one thing that my daughters would tell you they love DC superhero girls. They do watch that. Anyway, Nick Lopez.
TV shows are good.
Yeah,
Right?
these are not bad.
The Flash is good, right? I've heard decent things. Green Arrow.
I liked it, but then I kind of know everything on the CW is pretty corny. I mean,
you just got to overlook it's on the CW. You just got to, because every once in a while we'll hit you over the head. Oh yeah, this ain't got no budget.
Yeah, I won't argue that Marvel has done better movies. The Dark Knight trilogy is the GOAT, though, but DC does everything else better. I do read comics. I don't know what anything else after the movie.
What else is you talking about?
That's what I just said too bad.
Comics, action figures, you know.
They do good animated movies, but I don't know what else they do good.
Oh yeah, their animated movies aren't terrible. I saw that one, the Batman one that was in theaters. What was it? Was it Long Halloween? No.
Was it
Killing Joke? Killing Joke. And Killing Joke, by the way, great comic. Some of DC's like prestige comics, the graphic novels, Long Halloween, the Dark Knight Rises. Is it called Dark Knight? No, Dark Knight Returns.
Into the Spider-Verse, man. That thing was amazing.
Batman,
that's a movie. That's another movie.
Batman carried in DC like LeBron in the 07 finals. Like that shit is amazing. Everything he just mentioned is Batman related. Like it's like Batman. I've never heard somebody like, yo, check out this really dope Superman story.
Okay, all right, I'll give you one. All-Star Superman. All-Star Superman is a comic. It's very good.
Okay. So before we go into this conversation and before we jump into linebackers, I'll try to bring it back. Tony, talk about the sponsor.
Of course. The Olympics, Euros, baseball, major championships, and concerts are all in this summer. You know what isn't? A wild and hairy bush. Tame your pubes with helps from our friends at Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Their 4th-generation performance package includes the brand-new Lawnmower 4.0. If an athlete treats their body like royalty, why not treat your pubes like Olympic gold? Fellas, do right by your balls and join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com with the code AFCnorthtalk. That's AFCnorthtalk, all one word. The world is starting to open, and the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped is here to help you get ready. Inside, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver toner, plus 2 free gifts. You get the Performance Boxer briefs and that Shed travel bag. Talk about world-class dismount in a post-quarantine world. This package is perfect for your It's a perfect package for your package, easy for me to say, and peak performance in whatever sport you desire. The brand new Lawnmower 4.0 is here to take the podium. This 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their skin-safe technology. The package also comes with the Weed Whacker to chop your worst weeds up top in both your nose and ear. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor, 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. After trimming your pubes, show some sportsmanship with Manscaped's liquid formulations. The Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner are the key to feeling victorious this year. So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code AFCnorthtalk at manscaped.com.
Yeah, get the marvel of blades right there. The marvel of manscaping and menswear with a Manscaped blade. You don't want to get the DC Universe blade because it'd be all patchy, won't be connected, be all kind of different pieces. You'd be abandoning little pieces here and there. You won't even know. Yeah, you'd be there for 4 hours and it won't even be all the way clear. And then they're gonna add a Joker.
You got to use the director's cut the next day. Like it's gonna just it's.
Yeah.
Okay, and remember, guys, we have a Twitter. This is where we do the polling. That's the polling, and with this, we're gonna jump right into it. Ace, who's your number 4, man?
Yeah, the number 4 is the Bengals. I mean, I'm just gonna be real about it here. If you guys follow me on New Stripe City, you know that I have been upset with the linebacking position for years now, going on 5 years. I actually have an Odell Thurman jersey hanging up there. After that, it was Vontaze Burfict, and now I feel like we've entered into another similar feeling that Bengals fans have had, where we're waiting for someone to kind of step up and take that place. I think Logan Wilson has a lot of promise. The only issue is I watched a lot of the linebackers last year. Logan Wilson did not get a lot of snaps. That's not to say that he won't be better than what we had last season, which I think he does have a chance to do that, but I just don't have over 20% of the snap count to actually show that. I can't say that he's played 30% of the snaps, 40 or 50, because he technically hasn't. So obviously he's a young linebacker. We also have Jermaine Pratt, who I'm confident in. Didn't have the best season last year, but linebackers kind of grade pretty weird on Pro Football Focus. But he was very solid last year. I mean, as Devin White, right? Devin White was like apparently trash according to PFF last year.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there.
So I would say Jermaine Pratt, and then after that, you have Akeem Davis-Gaither, who's somewhat of a Swiss Army knife, but you have to figure out exactly how he's going to be used. You know, he's a former safety. He's rushed before. He's dropped back into coverage. He's played linebacker. He's a little bit smaller. I think I've been hearing things this offseason that he's actually put some more weight on. But this is not a group that I feel like I could definitively rank over fourth place. Obviously, I still feel like all of the teams in this division, I think we're kind of on the second half of the spectrum when it comes to league-wide in terms of linebacker cores. But I just can't make or rank the Bengals any higher than that. I still think that they actually need to look at some linebackers out on the market, maybe a Quan Alexander or something like that, to add to this group just because, you know, this team just got ran on for like 400 or 500 yards. You would think that they would do more at the linebacking position. And I get it. They're trying to go with the youth movement there. But I'm not seeing enough for me to rank the Bengals better than last.
I mean, there's still Josh Bine out there, I think.
No, we're good.
Okay,
We're good.
Learn the lesson.
Enough of the Josh Bond show.
Cody Mayer says, Q's favorite Batman moment, high fuse blowing up. Shout out to everybody that's been donating. Shout out to all of you. Play on the review says, gotta donate $5 just to let a Sir Uncle know that he needs to put me on his busy schedule to talk some Giannis NBA final. Oh, sorry.
We'll talk after this, bro. I got you. I was talking to your mom yesterday, by the way.
Ooh.
No, it's my nephew.
No, we just playing.
Okay. That's my sister. Okay. Yeah, but I'll give you.
The finals may be over tonight.
It might.
It might be.
Okay,
Especially with the ref.
Tony.
Yeah.
Before we derail that show there, Tony, do you have more thing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to agree with Ace here. It's the Bengals. And I look, like he said, this is a youth movement here. Davis Gaither, Logan Wilson, these are interesting guys, you know, as far as young players go. But the problem with this unit right now is even though they have a couple young guys, there's not that guy who you're like, okay, well, we got the guy we're going to build around, right? Well, as we talk about the rest of these units, very clearly they have a guy that they're trying to build this unit around. The Bengals, I think, are still in search for that. Obviously, they weren't going to spend a high draft pick on this year because they had very different needs, right? They wanted to get Burrow his star receiver and shore up that offensive line. And of course, then things like linebacker, things like defense are going to fall off in the priority list in that way. So yeah, for me, the Bengals are 4 here as they're still in search for that guy.
Yeah, I'm not going to prolong this any longer than it needs to be. The Bengals are number 4. I will respond to somebody saying my favorite Batman moment was Heinz Field blowing up. No, it was not. It was that Joker scene where he puts the pencil in the dude's eye for the longest. But then I went to school for theater and everybody did that monologue. So the Joker from The Dark Knight is ruined for me. Too many Halloweens where some kid comes up to me, you want to know how I got these scars? And I'm over it. I haven't even seen Joker. I heard Joker was really good. I can't put myself to go watch another because I know I'm going to see some kid imitating it in the audition and I'm going to lose my mind because I went through too much of that in college.
You can see Quincy's scars right there. Anyway,
I know where I got these scars, Sonny.
I will agree here with everything that the guys are saying because for me, as I was looking into the, evaluating the linebacking core, it was, and we'll discuss the other teams. It was a clear 4th, and then 3-2-1 for me was very hard to put in. So as you will hear me say 3-2-1, 3-2-1 for me was very hard to put it together. But look, I will say this. Logan Wilson was one of my favorite linebackers coming out of college. Not Wisconsin. Yeah, it was Wisconsin. Wyoming. It was a W state. I liked him a lot. I wanted the Ravens to get him. I wanted them to do 2 linebackers like they did. Patrick Queen, I thought Logan Wilson would have been good. Logan Wilson has a lot of potential, but after him, I mean, Gaither's also I like, but the problem is when you have that many youth, you don't have that veteran that can guide them, right? And you want that guy. I thought that's what Bynes was there for last year. I agree with Ace, maybe getting one of the other veterans out there still, just to guide the guys. I think also what hurt the Bengals the most last year is that D-line got weak, especially that interior. We already ranked them, but obviously the interior defensive lineman has hand in hand with the linebacking core, right? They're the ones that they don't allow that O-line to get to that level. And as young guys, you will see them committing and just getting sucked in by the O-line too quickly. So I'm not going to make this too long. Bengals 4th. Okay, number 3. I think here is where it starts getting interesting. Ace, who do you have number 3?
Nah, man, you're gonna have to go with somebody else. I gotta hear where you guys go.
Okay, Tony.
What's that?
3, Tony. Give me your 3.
Okay, well, listen, it has to start somewhere. Okay, someone has to just say a name, and then everyone else is gonna freak out. So I'll do it first. For me, and I didn't expect to say this, Baltimore Ravens are 3.
We don't need to hear anymore. No.
Let's go. Get me off of mute. Get me off of mute. We got a long thing here. We got to talk about a lot of things. So, Pro Football Focus, right? We like to,
wait, you said the PFF didn't.
Can I finish? I literally haven't completed a.
You said the Bush didn't matter here. I'm joking. Go ahead.
Okay, you are going to be very surprised at where I go with this if you would let me finish the thought. Okay. Now, Pro Football Focus has Patrick Queen, okay, as not like a bad, just a bad line. They have him as one of the worst linebackers in the National Football League. In fact, I mean, I saw his rating. I thought it was a typo. I mean, I almost wanted to email support at PFF and say, did you get I think you guys like screwed some up in the database. Like your tables are pointing the wrong way because 29.7 for Patrick. Like look, I'm not a Patrick Queen expert, but 29. Okay. There are 183 linebackers who played a single snap in Pro Football Focus's database. Patrick Queen is rated 171 out of those 183 players. If you just limit it to like guys who are, basically starter, it's 500 or that's 500 snaps. He's the worst. Okay. So this got me on a thing. Now it's like, okay, what the hell is PFF? Because again, I don't think he's the worst linebacker in the league, not even close. And yes, he's a young guy. He's going to struggle at times, but I wanted to see this. So during my lunch break today, I decided, all right, let's watch Patrick Queen. Let's watch Patrick Queen on film. Patrick Queen's not good. Now, Patrick Queen is just straight up not good. And I don't know. Maybe every Ravens fan. Look, you guys. Again, I don't know if you guys all have a group chat together where it's like this is going to be a meme where we're going to like petition to have like a bad linebacker be Rookie of the Year. But I only watched like 50 snaps, right? Because again, it's 30-minute lunch break.
Runner up the POA.
Patrick Queen has, if I was like the Madden guy and I wanted to do, Madden ratings, he would have an awareness rating of 0. I mean, this guy does not know what he's looking at ever. I mean, there are so many snaps where I'm watching Patrick Queen and I'm saying to myself, what are you doing? What are you looking at? This guy, we talk about read our keys. He's a chicken with head cut. He's just, here, go there. The only thing where Patrick Queen is good and where Ravens fans can actually be somewhat, optimistic here. He's a great pass rusher. The reps that I watch him as a pass rusher, awesome. See ball, get ball. I mean, he's very good about not letting guys get their hands on him at the line of scrimmage. He's a very good pass rusher, and maybe you can build on that. But I think his mental processing is so far behind. I mean, so far behind. We're talking about a guy who, if I'm a Ravens fan today, it's not that I'm excited. Oh, Patrick Queen year 2. I'm worried. How the leap that he has to make from what he was in his rookie season to what Ravens fans want you to believe he is, I mean, we're talking about Josh Allen type leaps here, right? I mean, this guy has to transform himself as a player. And I understand that middle linebacker is the hardest position because again, there's so much you have to think about on every play, especially for him, in his position in the middle of this Ravens defense. But man, he's just so lost at times. The rest of their room, I do like. You guys know I love LJ Fort. I'm never going to say a bad word about LJ. It's one of the dumbest moves the Steelers made in their, in team history to cut him at the time when they needed a linebacker. So LJ has been very good for them. But yeah, boy, look, I'm not trying to say that PFF's right in their ranking, but I will say this. Look, he's not the worst linebacker in the league, but he has a long way to go before we start talking about this guy as being like, a guy you can build around in the middle. His mental processing, he has to not just it's not just got to click for him. It's like 2 clicks, right? He's, he is not just a beat behind on plays. He's 2 beats behind. He's 3 beats behind. And he's really got to fix that if he's ever going to become a playmaker in the middle. So yeah,
if you ever question if Tony loves football, he spent his lunch break watching Patrick Queen tape.
all 22.
I saw that too, Tony. When I saw that, I was just like, "What? He was that bad?"
Yeah. No, but I had to see. But for me, it's like, all right, I got to see this because PFF's linebacker rankings. Look, Devin Bush, who you talk to Bucks writers, right? Guys who watch the Bucks every week, they will tell you Devin White is ready now to be an All-Pro now. I mean, this guy is like trajectory is through the roof. He was phenomenal as the year went on. His PFF rating is a 42 or something like a 47.
It was bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why when I turn on Patrick Queen, it's like, all right, I expected to see a guy who's he's going to have some moments where you're okay, he's not great, but nothing like what I saw. Look, Patrick Queen has a long, long way to go before we start talking about him as being a legitimate playmaking middle linebacker.
Okay. Max Holcomb says, I just spit my drink out.
I think he was talking about the awareness of zero.
Maybe.
Sorry.
Cody Morrow says, which team in the AFC North will have the most Pro Bowlers on defense? Damn, including
not the
great
Bengals.
players. They've got 8 first rounders on defense. Just saying. I don't know.
What?
So he's saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers have 8 first rounds in their defense.
First round picks?
Yeah.
First round picks.
Yeah.
It might be more now that they have Melvin Ingram.
Yeah.
I think that don't count. That's not your first round pick.
Does Minka not count? Does Joe Hayden not count? I mean, these guys were drafted.
That's like when people are like the Browns have 2 number 1 overall picks on their defensive line. No, they signed Jadeveon Clowney for $7 million.
But
they have Myles Garrett.
I think what you're saying is like it's the pedigree thing, right? It's like when you're talking about college players, you're like he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, right?
Pedigree counts in your rookie deal after like your first 4 years in the league, dog. Nobody cares where you got drafted.
Yeah. Are we gonna say Eli Apple was a former first round pick, so he's good? Like, we're not gonna do that.
Right?
And let's also remember, a lot of GMs just ain't good at this, man. Like there's some people who are first round picks that just shouldn't be first round picks. Justin Gilbert, former first round pick in one of the best drafts of all time.
One thing I always have to remind myself is that these are not the 32 best general managers in the world. These are not the 32 best franchises in the world. Okay, this is not like European soccer where there's promotion and relegation. These are the only 32. Okay, these guys just they just happen to own a team. It's not that they're good at it. That's how they got here. Okay, they just happen to have the money to do so. So I constantly have to remind myself of that when I think about some of the crazy moves. Oh, by the way, one other thing about Patrick Queen I wanted to point out. Do you know what his completion?
We don't need to hear any more Patrick.
No, I'm interested.
You don't want to hear this. You don't want to hear
this. Is it like 70?
85% completion percentage. 85.
That's rough.
That's about to come out of the shirt.
Look. Obviously, look. Again, I don't want to sound like it's like Patrick Queen has no chance because he's a good athlete, right? Good athlete. You could build on this, right? Good as he's rushing the passer. When he knows what he's doing, he can make plays. Although there was the one play, I think it was against the Bengals. He actually read the guard pulling. He got to the hole and he just kind of like didn't know. I was like, yeah, okay, you're there. Attack him now. And he's just kind of like, oh, right, I'm playing football. That's the thing with him. He always feels like he's like a step behind what he should be doing, or even 2 steps behind what he should be doing. But anyway, I've said enough on Patrick.
So let me say,
I'm gonna get muted.
For Cody, I think the Steelers. If you're talking about purely defense, probably the Steelers.
No, it would
Pro
probably
Bowlers?
be the
No, it's the
Ravens. It was Ravens. Yeah, because Calais Campbell's going to make it. Brandon Williams like the only nose tackle in football, like one of 3 left. The Steelers have one too, so they'll probably get both in there. And then who else they got out there?
Well, they get both corners.
Yeah,
both corners are like
Peterson. Yeah. You could see where one of their safeties has like a bigger year, and then they can get a fringe Pro Bowl start. And
the Steelers have 3: Hayward, Minka, and Watt, which are like perennial. But then it's, they're going to give enough respect to Tuitt. Is Bush going to come along in his second year? Everyone else, Hayden's never going to get a Pro Bowl.
And then the Browns, you could say Miles is one more than likely. And then you can argue maybe Clowney, but he's got to prove that at this point in his career.
Yeah. Ward is
Ward. It's really just Ward, him, and then John Johnson are really the only 3 you could say confidently right now are going to be Pro Bowl.
Troy Hill sneaky as a nickel.
Yeah, but it's real hard to get that spot.
Yeah.
You got to be on a good defense. I don't know if this defense is going to be as good as it needs to be to get a nickel on the Pro Bowl team, but we'll see. Either way, it don't really matter who playing in the Pro Bowl because you're trying to get into the game after that. But hey,
you
the
don't want to
Baltimore Ravens want to send the most players to the Pro Bowls this year. That's a good thing for me.
Okay, Tony. I'm sorry.
I did 3. You want me to do it again? All right, let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens.
You. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I was coming into this and I wanted to hear other people's opinions and really see where I'm at on this. And I came in here leaning Baltimore at 3. Boy, did Tony sell me on 3. Pat Queen, I would say like the player he reminds me of a lot. And this isn't like necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a great thing. He reminds me a lot of Mac Wilson whenever you watch him. Like a guy who kind of like either he's going to be in one gap and like that's where he's going, or he does not know where he should be on the football field. And players like that tend to have very terrible PFF grades. So, I get why that is there, and I get why that's frustrating. And also for Baltimore fans, I wonder if this is going to be the same level of problem of when they tried to promote Patrick Onosor Peanut to that main linebacking role, and he kind of just freelanced and didn't really get in the right spots, and that affected the defense a lot. So, yeah, I'm partly not sold on Patrick Queen. I like LJ Fort. I like Malik Harrison, but I think LJ Fort and Malik Harrison kind of serve the same purpose, kind of bigger guys who can kind of get in there in the run game. And, I think a lot was put on Patrick Queen to kind of be a difference maker at the linebacking position. And I have a consistent theory when it comes to linebackers. You draft these guys in the first round, they have to be good. They're almost like running backs, right? Where I don't think you get much value out of a linebacker if they aren't, borderline Pro Bowl good early in their career, because you more than likely you're not going to keep them long term. We've seen this happen with CJ Mosley, right? Where he was really good early in his career, still didn't get extended in Baltimore. Ended up being the right decision. Joe Schobert in Cleveland. You can go down a long list of guys here. And we'll get to that because I know people are going to say, what about Devin Bush? We'll get to Devin Bush soon here. Yeah. But I think right now it's not as deep of a situation as some of the other rooms. And there are some real question marks about Patrick Queen that I do think need to be answered as far as his ability to hold down that spot. I do think there's a role for him in the NFL, right? I think he can probably would be best served as probably like a will linebacker in a 4-3. I don't think he's in that kind of a role right now. He's probably asked to cover too much space and have too much responsibility out in zone, which is not his strong suit. He's somebody you want to send as a blitzer most of the time, or somebody who maybe you can put on certain tight ends on man, but you don't want him out there guessing what he has to do. And I think that's too much of what he's doing. And in this defense, the 3-4, they're not going to change it for him. So I don't anticipate him getting that much better this year. So that's why I have the Ravens here at 3.
Ace.
For me, that's where I was actually kind of leaning. It was between two teams. Baltimore was one of them. The reason that I had to put Baltimore up a spot over the Bengals was because of LJ Fort, who I was classically wrong about when we kind of ranked these positions last year. When it came to that, LJ Fort, I have confidence in. He is 31 at this point. Not for long in the NFL. Once guys hit 30, they kind of tend to go downhill, but I still gave him the benefit of the doubt because I think he had a 71 PFF rating, whatever that means, right? Because PFF scores are all over the place when it comes to the linebackers. Patrick Queen, I had my concerns about him as well. Malik Harrison, I felt good about, but he is a rookie. And it really, to me, just came down to Patrick Queen versus Devin Bush, who, spoiler alert, that's probably where I'm going next. That's what it really came down to. I have more faith in the other guy in Pittsburgh than I do with the guy in Baltimore. That's where I was leaning. I just didn't want to open the show like that because I know you Baltimore fans get upset. You're going to say Ace is hating, so I wanted to let some of the other guys say it first as well.
I'll take the heat for you, Ace. I'll take the heat this week.
But yeah, that's honestly where I was feeling as well. It was a tough decision. It was really splitting hairs. I think, Sonny, like you said when you started the show, there's a clear 4, and then you're just like, man, all right, this guy, who's going to get that spot? And really, when it comes down to it for me, it's crazy to say it, right? Because this is a team that once had Ray Lewis, Ed Hartwell, Suggs, all of these guys. It was a a position of strength. I would have never thought that I would ever be saying that the Baltimore Ravens, don't have one of the top linebacking cores in the league because, generally that's what they kind of have done in the early 2000s. That's how I was kind of introduced as a fan. I couldn't wait to pop a bottle when Ray Lewis retired. So I feel like it's been a far cry from where they've been at. I think the CJ Mosley thing, I think what Quincy is saying, like it worked out, like you still were a extremely elite defense without him and not having to pay that position. But I do think that there was a difference between CJ Mosley and the young guy that replaced him as far as that goes. But that's why Baltimore is going to be number 3 for me as well.
Peanut. I remember Peanut was a hot topic in Baltimore.
Peanut. Goodness.
Yeah, Peanut.
Peanut.
Yeah, Peanut.
Is he in the league anymore? Is he done?
No, he's in the league. He's a decent enough player. He's
He
just
went
not
to the Jets, like with Mosley. They reunite over there, and then Mosley opted out, and Peanut, I think, had a season-ending injury.
It's like that weird Jets Ravens thing. I don't know. You guys have like a love affair going on. I remember when Rex Ryan was over
every
there.
time we cut somebody in Baltimore, the Jets go ahead and sign.
They're like,
It's the same.
When your team sucks, when your team sucks, as somebody who has been on this ride before, when your team sucks, you get a GM every once in a while that just goes, I'm gonna just pick up everybody that this team doesn't want anymore because the Browns did this with the Patriots forever. Shout out Willie McGinnis.
Yeah, the Cardinals used to do this with the Steelers a lot too. It was we used to call it Pittsburgh West.
The retirement home.
Yeah, that's just the Cardinals. The Cardinals just, I don't know. That's AJ Green's over there now. It's crazy. Carson Palmer, all kinds of guys.
Yep,
going over there.
Who it is that has all these ex-Browns, but there's a team out there that does.
I think the Patriots have a lot of ex-Browns.
No, it's the Houston Texans. It's the Texans. Yeah, like Duke Johnson, like all these guys over there. Yeah.
Duke Johnson might be a Ram here in an hour or two, depending on where the Rams go.
Before I get my we have 235 people watching this show and only 64 likes. So go ahead, hit that like button before I mute Tony again. No. Okay. So obviously there's some group thinking going on in here.
Oh yeah, it's almost like the defensive line podcast,
I'm gonna say this. Patrick Queen had his issues last year. I tweeted during games about Patrick Queen's in coverage, especially in coverage. It's very rare to find a good coverage linebacker. And the problem that Patrick Queen has for this defense specifically is when he was in coverage, most of the time he was covering man. And it's very hard for a middle linebacker to cover man. I mean, CJ Mosley, that was one of the weakest spots, but I'm pretty sure that's 90% of the middle linebackers. Covering man is just difficult. If he goes back and covers zone, I think he will be better. To Tony's point, the problem that Queen has, he attacks and he doesn't think. He needs, in my opinion, he needs to slow down. And I think sometimes he goes after so hard, and then midway to his attack, he tries to slow down. And that's when he looks lost, right? Saying that, I think Patrick Queen has a lot of potential. And I think he flashed a lot in a season where he didn't have training camp, but he got a lot of responsibility because think about the Ravens. They had LJ Ford last year, Chris Board coming back undrafted. I think he was in year 2. And that was it. And then they said Malik Harrison and Patrick Queen, here you are. And here are the rails. You have to play, and you just have to play it. I mean, Patrick Queen essentially plays every snap. It's not like there's, as a rookie here, let's take him a couple snaps off, let him reconvene, right? Dude is there every single snap. And again, I think the Ravens put him in a hard spot, and they give him a lot. They wasn't like the East Man. So all I say I'm not ranking my effing Ravens at 3rd. I'm not. I'm breaking this. I actually think the Steelers, because just to hate Tony.
No.
I'm Joe. I actually
reasonable to put him at 3.
No, yeah, and again, guys, I to be honest, I struggle to rank all this 3. I thought about ranking the Ravens 3rd, but no. And then I thought about ranking the Steelers 3rd, which I was very close. But then I went with the Browns, and the Browns was my 3rd. I like their core.
Oh, wait, the Steelers aren't third? Oh,
no.
we were about to have a good back and forth right there. I was going to compare Devin Bush's rookie year to Patrick Queen.
Nah,
we were going to have a whole. I mean, I had a whole segment playing out in my head right there.
Because
I
do
it just for the content.
I like Bush versatility. I like Bush versatility a lot. And though he's coming from an injury, but we'll talk about that later.
Bush's versatility versus.
I mean, his overall versatility. I think in the case of the Browns, with Marco Smith and Taki, I think they're solid. You guys know JOK. We love them. Pre-draft, we were saying hopefully he doesn't go to the Browns. We'll see how JOK plays. I think if he's used right, he could be good. Also, as I've been consistent in this, I haven't taken rookies into account, right? I did that for the Ravens. I did that for everybody. The Browns are solid. I think all three cores are just solid. They're not great. They're just solid. I don't know. I feel like of all three, I think Patrick Queen, I know you guys hate him. I think he has a lot. I think his ceiling is high. I think he can be good, really good. I think in the case of Malik Harris, I'm not talking about the Ravens. I think that of all three, I think the Browns have the guys with the lower ceiling, if that makes sense. Minus JOK, because JOK hasn't played with the rookie. So
how do you feel? How do you feel, Sonny, about the fact that JOK is wearing a number in the 20s?
I don't like. Let me say this: I hate that Patrick Queen is wearing number 6.
He changed to 6. Oh, his career.
Yeah.
Well, listen. I mean,
Yeah.
I
hate
that. Just confirms everything I said in my segment.
I hate
What
that.
number does Devin Bush wear? Like 51?
50
No,
something.
it's 55.
55.
For some reason.
Which I'm not a fan of none of that. Anyway, I again, close call. I'm gonna rank Browns at third. I hear you guys' arguments in number 3. I'm actually not gonna disagree a lot. I see some of the problems that Patrick Queen had. I think Patrick Queen has a bigger ceiling than some of the other guys. Let me go through a couple of super chats that we have here real quick, and then we can number 2. Izana says, can you guys rank the top coaches in front office? It's going to be a show, Izana. It's going to be a show. We have it on the schedule because a couple of you guys think that we don't listen. This is not you, Izana. A couple of guys, but we got that comment a lot. So we, as a group said, like, we'll put it in a show. It's going to be one of the rankings, okay?
We got to figure out which Browns coach we're going to use. That's the only thing we're debating on still, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
This is the only way he's going to try to win that argument is by trying to say that Kevin Stefanski.
If you think I'm not going to keep doing that joke every single week until that podcast, and then I'm going to just absolutely beat that horse during the podcast.
Kevin Stefanski is such a good coach that his backup coaches were able to do the job that he coached him to do. That sounds like a great coach to me.
Well, or it's on rails. He's on rails there. He's actually not a good coach.
The Cleveland Browns are on rails because the organization has been so great.
Or
again,
I don't want to use content that we're clearly
whatever rails were made by Kevin Stefanski.
We'll get there.
Right?
Okay, so Rich Lilly here. Shout out to him. He always gets us.
Hugh Jackson blazed the trail for us, and then now you're just.
Oh, let me read the super chat.
By the way, I don't know if you guys can hear some. I hear some static in the background.
It's probably there's some thunder and raining over in the area where me and Tony are at.
Oh, gotcha. Devin Bush is close to fully recovered from his ruptured ACL injury. Plyometric reflexology stabilized the ligament and strengthened his knee to hand sudden explosive lateral movement.
Devin. Yeah, Rich is talking about, again, I talked last year, Robo Ben, the bionic arm, listen, and for 11 weeks there, we had Robo Ben.
Just as long as that applies to Joe Burrow.
Well, Devin Bush a little younger, so we expect that one to last a little longer than 11 weeks.
Is Devin Bush younger than Joe Burrow? Aren't they the same age?
23.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow 23.
Joe Burrow is 23 or 24?
I think
he should be 23.
He's 23? Okay, so they're both the same age then.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Devin Bush, by the way, 2 days
ago
ago was his birthday. Happy birthday, Devin Bush. He had a birthday 2 days ago.
Yeah,
just turned 23.
He tweeted about it.
We're not going there. We're ranking players for their on the field, not their Twitter.
That's a problem in the Steelers.
Listen, was it because Antonio Brown was kind of a
Burrow's actually 24.
okay.
He's 24.
Okay.
He's older.
Professor Chaos here says, doesn't the Giants have a lot of ex-Browns? They might.
Yeah,
They
because
did
we
from
traded
that
with
trade.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I have one more super chat here. Okay, here. Shout out to Cody for another super chat donation. Tony, does Doug Hodges play Buck or man?
Cody, he can play either. Obviously, okay. This is the kind of the all-star that Duck is. He is position agnostic. Okay?
Oh my god!
You fill him in where you need to. He has in football games when they put the player as ATH athlete. That's Devin. That's Devin Hodges. That's
Cordell Stewart Jr. right there. Huh?
Exactly. You fill in where you need him.
Slash.
Okay.
The question is not what position does he play. It's what position do you need him. That's really that's the question.
So number 2
Special
here.
teams.
Number 2. Ace. You want to go first?
All right. So you said you want my number 2?
Number 2.
So when it comes down to this one, I do take rookies into account. I'm one of the only ones. I think me and Quincy probably take rookies into account here. So for me, when I look at not only the rookies and I just look at the room as a whole, just depth-wise, talent-wise, potential-wise, solid starters there. For me, number 2 is going to have to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do like Devin Bush. As it was mentioned earlier, he is coming back off of a knee injury. I think he'll be fine from that. But then you got Vince Williams there, who's pretty old. So I'm not sure how much he has left in the tank. I'm pretty sure that he's pretty much on his way out there. This is probably going to be his last season there.
1 year deal.
Tony can correct me if I'm wrong there. And then you got Spillane, and then you got Marcus Allen, and that's where I kind of made my decision after reading some of the.
Don't forget Ulysses Gilbert. How dare you, Ulysses Gilbert? And you're taking rookies into account, my boy Buddy Johnson. Come on.
So for me, I like Devin Bush. Liked him a lot, especially a lot of Bengals fans that year wanted to draft him. Obviously, they jumped up. We ended up getting Jonah. Devin White and Devin Bush were the guys that year. I think that he can take that step. He did struggle a little bit early, but I think that he can rebound. And what is this, year 3 from him now, Tony?
Yeah.
No, 3. Sorry, 3.
Year 3. So I think in his 3rd year, we're going to probably see him try to ascend there and cash in on that position that they spent to jump up and draft him, which now that you think about it, we talk about linebackers and the value of it, might be something that you regretted if he doesn't turn into, the next Darius Leonard or something like that for you to move from, I think you guys were in the 20s that year all the way up to 10.
Yeah, it was like 21. It was like 21 to 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So the lack of talent, well, not talent, I can't say that because we haven't really seen these guys, but the kind of unknown surrounding Devin Bush, obviously for me is why I put the Steelers here at number 2.
Okay, Q.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the Steelers here at number 2, and this comes down to pretty much what I think of the young guys, right? Do I think Devin Bush, or do I think more highly of JOK? Now, look, you could say all you want. Quincy's only going with JOK here because Quincy's a Browns fan, and that partly has something to do with it. Obviously, like, we are human, we have our internal biases, but I have openly not been a big fan of Devin Bush before the draft even started last year. And I have been gushing about JOK before I even thought the Browns drafting him was a possibility. So my opinions on these two guys were pretty set in stone here before they were juxtaposed against each other on opposing teams here. So yeah, I would do that here. Now, Devin Bush, Ace brought up an excellent point. Year 3 is a massive year for him. It's a massive year for Kevin Colbert because, you spent a top 10 pick on a linebacker. And in today's NFL, that's got to work out early, and it's been 3 years. Well, it's been 2 seasons already. He lost 1 to injury, so he could have busted out in his 2nd year. It would have been fine. But now he really needs to hit the ground running day 1 in his 3rd year because, who knows if they're going to want to extend him after this contract, after his rookie deal, or even give him a 5th-year option. Because at the top 10 pick, that's a significant amount of money for a linebacker, that 5th-year option. So this is going to be a critical year for him. And he really does have to step up, so he does have that pressure. Depth-wise, it's all right. Vince Williams there. Robert Spillane was a pretty solid backup for most of the year. And you got the goof troop, Marcus Allen and Ulysses Gilbert and everybody else.
And Buddy Johnson, come on, Buddy. Yeah. I mean, this is a 5th round pick, guys. Man,
yeah,
give him the respect he deserves. All right,
Buddy Johnson. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Buddy Johnson. Also, another thing that you have to factor in here with the Steelers is how will they look? How will they play in the given defense? And the positions that they're going to be in for success. And usually Pittsburgh does a good job in making their linebackers look good, especially in run defense. But sometimes I would charitably say, fall short of being helpful to their linebackers by staying out in base a lot, which can tend to be exposed, which is exactly what happened early on in that Pittsburgh Steelers Browns game in the playoffs, where they were just going at Jarvis. They were throwing the ball to Jarvis Landry nonstop because they can get him on the slot. Was it Spillane or was it Gilbert? It was an unfair situation. So sometimes that kind of thing can happen. Ultimately, it's not a terrible linebacking room. I do think Devin Bush at the very least will be league average good to above average. It's just to justify trading up to a top 10 pick for him. He needs to be a little bit better than that. And we'll see what happens there.
Okay, before I go to Tony here, Cody says, wasn't Bush a Pro Bowl alternate?
We're not bringing up Pro Bowl alternates. We're not doing that because Baker Mayfield was a Pro Bowl alternate his rookie year. Nobody care about that. Okay.
Well, and the thing is, like, Pro Bowl alternate means that so many guys opted out that you eventually became an alternate, right? I mean, like, I don't think he was. I don't know that he was actually an alternate that year. Was he actually an alternate, or was it the thing where we had a bunch of opt outs?
They have
you'd be next up.
Teams of alternates for every position, so like. Anybody can be an alternate.
They have a list.
Like, I'm pretty sure Ace was an alternate.
I just feel like, I feel like Pro Bowls
for sure. They had a whole video about it.
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, for me, all pro matters way more than
for sure.
Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl is you got the fan voting aspect of it, where players are just voting for their favorite players, and then two, so many guys opt out that you end up with, like, all right, well, we gave it to the 7th best quarterback in the AFC, and you're a Pro Bowler now, and that's how you end up with, like, I forget. There has been some guys who made the Pro Bowl that has just been very silly.
So Rex Fortunes here says, at least Stefanski is the most attractive coach. I don't want to. I'll let you guys.
That female 1849 looking good for the Browns right there in that demo.
Cody says, understood, but what did JOK do? Well, he hasn't done anything.
He has not played yet.
What does he have the opportunity to do?
He has not played yet. That's a great point, Cody. That's a great point. Browns fans' headcanon for what JOK is probably better than Devin Bush. I agree.
But at the end of the day, we're all here debating, predicting who's going to be the best linebacker core, beginning of the season. I mean, week 1 could come and the starting linebacker is hurt. And so, I mean, we're all really kind of projecting.
I know homie didn't go, well, Devin Bush was a Pro Bowl alternate his rookie year. What has JOK done in his rookie year? It is July.
It is July, and that is the
he hasn't even played a preseason game. He hasn't even had a padded practice yet. What do you mean we're comparing what they did?
Do you think JOK will be a Pro Bowl alternate this year?
Oh, I think very highly of JOK. I think Pro Bowl alternate is most certainly in his future.
Okay,
and I think
Sonny, same question for Patrick Queen.
Oh, that's not fair.
Yes.
Be a Pro Bowl
I think he was a Pro Bowl alternate this year, wasn't he? I mean, he got it. I mean, Ravens fans were all about him.
Well, he was a finalist for the defensive rookie of the year.
Which is
defensive player rookie of the year.
I know he was a finalist for defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah,
which either speaks to
put up there though.
That's not fans.
No, that's not fans. No, it's not fans. And it speaks to, one, who the hell is voting for these things, and two, or was it just a terrible defensive draft? Right?
It might have just been a bad defensive draft because I can't remember anybody. Like, who won it?
Oh, Chase.
Chase Young.
Yeah,
Chase Young.
Okay. So Chase Young's obviously really good.
Okay, but who was second? This is a good exercise. Who was second? Who do you think finished second in voting?
I think it
was the kid from Baltimore, right?
Yeah,
Queen.
I think
not the guy from the Chargers.
What about fans on?
What about Kenneth Murray?
Like, Queen should have won Rookie of the Year.
Okay, this was not a good defensive draft. The way we're referring to these players just proves.
Was there like a good safety or what? Oh yeah, what about the kid from the Panthers?
That guy. Yeah. I don't know his name, but I don't know his name a lot about him being okay. Yeah. So great defense.
Jeremy Chin, I think is his name.
I love him.
See? Okay, Jeremy Chin was second best. He was. Should have been.
I don't know but he was.
I think it's hard, but I think what it was it came out or something that Patrick Queen got a vote for defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, we should look up. We should look up the voting.
Carmelo.
And then we should find whoever voted for him, and we should kick them out. So.
Okay, I'm trying to get this.
Actually,
Ravens beat
Tony, I
writer.
need you to mute that guy. We need to mute the guy who voted for Patrick Queen for defensive player of the year.
You guys are
That's the
sleeping.
way.
You know how we at the beginning said who you guys were sleeping at? I misspoke.
Mhm.
It wasn't Malik Harrison. It was definitely Patrick.
Yeah,
Queen.
I'm surprised you didn't say Patrick. Well, yeah, if you would have known, if you would have known, you would have.
Okay.
He did not know we were asleep.
No, I did not know. Okay, Rich says, thank you for your support and feedback, which really helps me a lot. You and this amazing community of fans focused my studies, and I finished my doctor's and got my nurse practitioner license.
Wow.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations. That is
Years
awesome.
You have kept us in check with the whole injuries. We appreciate
that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay.
By the way, I do have the voting here if you want to hear it real quick.
By the way, Rich Lilly, I could tell you a workaholic because even when you relax and you out here working, giving us injury reports, like the man work ethic never stops.
All right, defensive player of the year voting was Chase Young. I mean, it basically in a runaway, 42.5 votes to Jeremy Chin, who did finish second, 4.5 votes. Patrick Queen, 2 votes, and we forgot about a really good guy, Antoine Winfield Jr. Got one.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. I don't know.
He should have gotten more votes.
Yeah.
Who?
Winfield should have got more votes.
Antoine Winfield, the safety for the Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I like Winfield. I thought he was pretty good, but I didn't think he was like
as a rookie,
defensive rookie of the year.
Better than
to be fair.
No, vote. It tells you no.
Well, hold on, wait. This is how you could tell because this happens all the time with the media with linebackers. Did Patrick Queen have a lot of tackles or something like that? Did he lead the team in tackles as a rookie?
Patrick Queen had 79 tackles. Yes, yeah. He was
lead the Ravens in tackles. That's exactly how that happened.
He was classic, around the ball, but
you know how many mediocre Browns linebackers I've witnessed that everybody thought was good because he led the team in tackles.
Well, there was another Ravens linebacker who made a name for himself by just padding the stat sheet when it came to tackles, and everyone thinks he's like the greatest middle linebacker of all time. But I'm not going to name names, and we can move on. We don't have to get into that. We're already an hour in. We still haven't done 2-1 yet.
So let me mute Tony, even though he had number.
Yeah. Hit the mute. He deserves it.
His name says
which AFC North inside linebacker has the best chance to be a Pro Bowler? I'll give you 1 vote for JOK. So he has 1. Love you guys. Sorry for all the cute. That's okay, man. You can keep putting all the questions. You're doing a super chat. Who unmute? Who unmute?
That is, I guess what I realized that I have the power.
Yeah.
You can't stop me.
Yeah. Okay. So Tony, you had number 2, right? You haven't.
I haven't said number 2. I haven't said my number 2 yet.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. And my number 2 is Cleveland Browns. Obviously, I don't take rookies into account, so my love for JOK, I don't have to talk about here. But if you want to hear a great segment about JOK, I'm going to be on Quincy's channel. I believe tomorrow that video goes up. Quincy, we talk in depth about why JOK is destined to be an absolute bust. It's a really in depth football 101. So really, I think you guys should listen. I think it's near the end of that video, but watch the whole thing. Great interview by Quincy. But at the end, we really dig into some football 101 stuff.
We digged into the numbers.
That's right. It's a very numbers heavy segment. Yeah. So that's why So unfortunately, JOK, I'm not taking him into account for this, but he is going to be a bust, and I went into that in his video. Okay, I want to talk about Sion Taki because here's what happened during my lunch break. So Patrick Queen, right? I mentioned he had like the worst PFF grade of all time. Then the other thing that I noticed when I went to the PFF and I'm looking is Taki has the best PFF grade of any linebacker in the division. Okay, well now I'm intrigued because I just watched Patrick Queen like legitimately bad. So am I underrating Taki? Let me go and watch it. No, that's not true. I think he was.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about.
He was Look, Taki. Okay, Browns fans are not going to talk about Taki like this. This guy's a future defense. He's going to be rookie of the year. Right? He should be. But like. Based on what I saw from Patrick Queen, Browns fans should be talking about Taki. I mean, Taki was clearly a better linebacker last year. Clearly. The thing I like about Taki, just a solid dude. Just solid. You just slot him in there. He's like the Bill Belichick. Do your job. He's never going to be an elite prospect at the position, but just a really solid player. And then the Browns brought in Anthony Walker from the Colts. And talking to Colts people, they loved Anthony, even though I'd never heard of this guy. I mean, you talk to a Colts fan or I talked to the guy who did Locked On Colts. I mean, he's like, this guy's such a great leader. The Browns are going to love him. He's going to bring that defense together, yada, yada. Right. Okay. Hey, I never heard about this guy, but if that's what you think. Okay, cool. I guess he may start, right? He may start over Mac Wilson at middle linebacker.
Mac Wilson might not make the team.
Yeah, okay. That's right. Yeah. I mean, okay. And then Jacob Phillips is the other guy here. You know, obviously we'll see where in there JOK fits. Because JOK can be a player who fits, who can fit anywhere on the defense. And I am intrigued to see where they have him start, because like we saw with Isaiah Simmons, a player with that much flexibility, well you got to start him somewhere, right? You don't just throw a rookie out there and say, play everything, right? We're going to learn your rookie year, all of it, right? You got to start him somewhere. I'm interested to see where they start him. But yeah, for me, look, I like Taki. I think he's a good player. I think Walker, from a leadership perspective, from that inside position, can be good. And then Phillips is another good young player. Not taking JOK into account here, so the Browns stay number 2.
Okay, so I'm gonna go real quick because I know we're over an hour and nobody has said the number 1. I have the Steelers at number 2. Look,
which means you're gonna make an argument for Patrick Queen as number 1. Let's hear it.
I am.
Whoa, wait, what?
Yeah, he has Ravens 1.
The Steelers.
Is this a Ravens channel? I'm just trying to.
No. Number 2.
Let him speak his piece.
I will say this: the Ravens have received a lot of hate today. I'm well. The reason why I have the only reason I put number 2 the Steelers is because Devin Bush is coming out of an injury. We'll see how he recovers, right? And in a position where there's a lot of movement, right? Which in that case, that the injury that he sustained, he might be looking good right now in videos. I got it, right? People are like, always in short, no
Our
pass.
boy Rich just came through with gave him a clean bill of health.
I got you. But still, if I will say this, if Bush was coming from his rookie year and Patrick King was coming from the rookie year, and I had to rank this, I'll give the notch to the Steelers. But coming from an injury for Devin Bush, in my opinion, and the Ravens bringing the core back for year 2 healthy, I'll give the notch to the Ravens over the Steelers. But I think the 2 cores are very similar. I will give this, and Ravens fan might hate me for this. Right now, if I had to, Bush being healthy and Patrick Queen being healthy, Bush is a better linebacker, right? Than Patrick Queen, in my opinion, no doubt. But in the case of Bush coming from that big injury, for middle linebacker, I think, and this is just my opinion, I think Bush will struggle at the beginning of the season as he gets his footing, and then he will, slowly pick it up. That's what I think. Anyway, let's go to number 1 because we are over an hour and none of us have put number 1.
And Quincy hasn't done his 2 yet.
Yeah,
I'll go 2 and 1. I'll go 2-1. Right.
I thought you did your 2 because I have it here. Didn't you put the Steelers at number 2?
Did I?
Yeah,
I don't know, it's been a while.
Yeah, it was 8 to make 2. I'm slowly filling this little thing up. There you go. You can go number 1.
What time is it? Where are we?
Yeah. You can go number 1.
Derail effects.
We talked about DC. We've talked about literally everything. All right. I'm gonna go with the Browns here at 1. Again, the difference maker to me is I think a little bit more highly of JOK than I do with Devin Bush. Also, the supporting linebackers are very good. I think Malcolm Smith and Sione Takitaki, when used in a tandem, can be very useful, right? Malcolm Smith, if you look at his coverage grade versus a lot of the other linebackers in football, he was one of the better coverage graded linebackers according to PFF. And that holds up if you look at what he did last year, especially against some of the better receiving tight ends in football. Obviously, he's not somebody you're going to put one-on-one with Mark Andrews and he's going to shut down or anything, but there weren't any real egregious abuses of the tight ends with their, maybe outside of the Travis Kelce one, which he does to everybody. And then you look at Sione Takitaki. Look, Sione Takitaki is what I would think in a perfect world, if Patrick Queen was in the right defense, he would probably be able to do more often, because Sione Takitaki, if you watch him, he is really good at getting to a spot. He is really good at crashing. He is really good at tackling, and he is a great run defender. He's not somebody you want to zone or in coverage a lot because sometimes he can get lost. He has a great pick 6. I use great loosely. But the pick 6 he has against Philadelphia, right? It is a pick 6 that is a bad play for everybody involved, both the person who caught it and threw it, because Carson Wentz just threw this ball where it shouldn't have been thrown. It was like a wide open pass to a tight end that Taki missed the coverage on. But instead, Carson Wentz threw it to him, and Taki was only there because he was wildly out of place where he should have been in that coverage. And he got a pick 6. So he has his flaws, right? He's not a every down linebacker. He is somebody you want to use in a rotation. But if you have a Malcolm Smith, you're able to rotate those guys in and out. You have Anthony Walker, who's going to be on the field, be the mic, be the guy who's going to call out the plays and do all that intangible stuff, the leadership stuff that BJ Goodson did last year. And I believe he'll be as good as BJ Goodson was. And you got the wild card, the will linebacker, JOK. And that's what he's going to play. He's going to play exclusively will, from what I'm hearing from the defensive coordinators early on in his career. Maybe that changes during the season, but he's just going to play will. And I think he'll be pretty fine in that. I think he'll take over for some of the responsibilities. He'd probably be in man and coverage against some of these tight ends a little bit more often, since he is just more capable. But I think also underrated about JOK is going to be his ability to stop the run and his ability to blitz. I think that's going to be a huge thing that we're going to be talking about by midseason. I do think JOK is going to have a true defensive rookie of the year type season. I think he is going to be a star. I believed in this dude when I thought he was going to be the 10th pick in the draft. I am shocked that he went 50th. So my love of this player is not new. It is not just because he's on the Browns. This is not me. What was the player Gregory Rousseau? This is not me doing a 180 like if Gregory Rousseau and I'm like, oh, he's going to be deep. No. This is somebody I loved before the Browns even drafted him. And I think is going to be really, really good. And, hopefully for the next 4 or 5 years, he's going to be somebody that's going to be integral to this defense, along with Myles Garrett, along with Denzel Ward, and along with Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward's pretty much it. And John Johnson, you could say, but he's not going to be here super long term. But that's pretty much my reasoning for having him at number one. Again, I just think I think the world of JOK. I still have some question marks about Devin Bush, and it's kind of unfair because Devin Bush has been out there in the NFL longer. But even coming out of college, I truly feel like I think JOK was a better prospect in my eyes for what the Browns need to do versus what Devin Bush is for what the Steelers need to do. But that's just where I'm at on that.
Okay, shout out to Cody for a donation. Ray Lewis missed 11 games in 02. First team All-Pro 03. Okay.
Ray Lewis? Who's talking about? No one talked about Ray Lewis. Did anyone bring up Ray Lewis?
You don't want to get muted again. Not Ray Lewis. I'm sorry, Ace.
For me, it's Cleveland here at number one for me. And, you look at Taki. We got Cheetos and now we got Takis in the same division. But with Taki, I think that you see a solid linebacker, and that's where I really landed on. When I look at the supporting cast in Cleveland, if Quincy's saying that at some point that Mack Wilson might not even make it out of camp and he might get cut, I don't think the rest of the teams in the division can say that because, there's dire straits out there at linebacker around the division. They have Malcolm Smith as well. Anthony Walker, we talked about coming over from Indy, I believe. I briefly remember him from the Indy game against Cincinnati last year. Solid guy, probably could potentially start. You also got a third rounder in Jacob Phillips. You just got a lot of guys that you can actually say are solid. Like when I looked at a lot of the other teams in the division, I couldn't look at the guys and say they had as many guys that were quote unquote solid there. You got college free agents in some aspects. You got guys who never played in some aspects. And I think all of these guys have at least done something in the NFL. They've played a lot. Whether it's Malcolm Smith, the other guy, Anthony Walker. So I think when you look at that core, it's very solid. And then you have JOK, which I think is really the decision maker for me because I think that he does have the upside of a Devin Bush and what we have in a Patrick Queen and a Logan Wilson. I think he can ascend to a higher level. There's a lot of hype there, right? So I think that he will transition to the NFL pretty well. And so that really gives them the edge for me is just the surrounding cast and the more solid names there in that linebacker room to help him, right? Because we're not only going to have one linebacker on the field. At the end of the day, you're going to have 2 to 3 depending on which package you're in. So for me, that's why I went with the Browns number one.
Okay, Tony.
Yeah, I have the Steelers number one. First of all, we talk about Devin Bush. I've seen weird criticism of the Steelers this offseason. People saying, the Steelers, it was between Bush and White, and they got the worst end of that. Devin White looks like he's going to be great, and Devin Bush, what has he done? It's like that's such a strange argument because Devin Bush only played 4.5 games, right? I mean, we don't like Devin White came on as the year went on and got better and better, and obviously that playoff run that he had was spectacular. Devin Bush's second year got stunted, right? So we just. He needs to come back from this injury. He certainly could be on that same trajectory in year 3. We just haven't seen it. I'm not. Look, I'll say this about Devin Bush and the ACL tear, right? I mean, I think if we learn anything about modern medicine, it's that guys come back quicker and quicker from these things. The kid is 23 years old. Yes, ACLs used to be a massive thing that would take you a year and a half to come back from. It's just now we see guys come back from this stuff. We saw, he freaking AP ran for 2,000 yards after an ACL. So, modern medicine does amazing things. But I want to talk about the depth here because, what's interesting about this position for the Steelers, if you remember a year ago, Steeler fans, there were so many think pieces on, DK Pittsburgh Sports and The Athletic and the Post-Gazette. Everyone's saying, oh, the Steelers are betting big on Devin Bush. They really need Devin Bush to take a big step. Devin Bush is the key to this defense. If he gets hurt, this whole thing collapses, right? I mean, so much of last season was about, is Devin Bush going to make a leap? Because they were betting on him, right? When they got rid of Mark Barron, they were going to push Vince Williams back into a starting role, and they didn't sign anybody for depth, right? They had Robert Spillane. Robert Spillane was going to be first guy off the bench. And even I said at the time, like, this is insanity from Kevin Colbert. This is insanity from Keith Butler. If Devin Bush goes down, the Steelers are going to go back to John Bostic and Sean Spence. And, Steeler fans will remember the bad times at middle linebacker after Ryan Shazier's injury. And then, of course, football justice, right? I mean, this is exactly what happens. Devin Bush does go down. We're going to test that, the depth here in Pittsburgh. And the revelation last year for me at middle linebacker was Robert Spillane. Robert Spillane came in, and you could see it right in that game in Cleveland when he came in. There was not a huge drop-off. In fact, pretty good, right? I mean, look, now, is he a starter? I mean, as the season wore on, there were some games there where you thought maybe this guy could be a starter. And, he had a rocky road. He had a knee injury, I think week, 14, 15 that kept him out for a while. He came back in that playoff game, probably came back too early in that playoff game, but, the Steelers were, all those guys want to play in playoff games. So Spillane for me, look, when I think here's the crazy thing about Spillane. Here's a guy who comes off the bench. No one had heard about this guy. No one thought this guy was going to be anywhere close to an NFL caliber player when he gets in. If we're thinking about the best three plays from the Steeler defense last year, right? Number one is obviously Minka's pick six on Baker, but 2 and 3 are both Robert Spillane, aren't they? I mean, number 2 is the pick six that Spillane had on Lamar Jackson, which, by the way, we don't talk enough about the fact. I was thinking about this today. Both of those games, the games against the division teams opened with pick sixes on the opening drive. It's just weird.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird.
Then the wild card game started with the fumble,
and then started with a turnover too. Yeah. It's just a strange one. But then Robert Spillane, the hit on Derrick Henry at the goal line. I mean, the fact that he flatlined Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, by the way, who was a monster, 2,000 yards last year, and Robert Spillane meets him in the hole. I mean, the city of Pittsburgh, the kind of the blue collar nature of that city, loved it. Absolutely. He became a fan favorite right away.
Jadeveon Clowney effect.
That's right. Exactly. The Jadeveon Clowney effect. I mean, he just immediately became like, oh my goodness, where do I get his jersey? And so I think what the Steelers have at linebacker now, look, Devin Bush, well, the jury is certainly still out on him. The tough part is, man, it was such arrow pointing up. You go back and watch the Houston tape from last year with Devin Bush. And then even the Philly and Cleveland games, I thought he really was, things were really starting to click for him. He was really starting to become a dangerous player in the middle. And so to have it stop right there, now he's got to come back. I still think the world of Devin Bush. I think his ability to be that sideline cover guy, but also I think he's still super underrated as a pass rusher. Love to see the Steelers use him more there. And then now that the Steelers know that they have Spillane and they still have Vince Williams, I'm gonna be interested to see how those two guys. How they mix and match that, because Vince Williams, I think, still a very good run defender, not terrible in coverage, get him off the field in nickel. But Spillane last year was very good. I think his numbers for completion percentage against were like 58% or something like that for Spillane. So he's very good in that role. And then you've got guys behind them, Ulysses Gilbert, Marcus Allen. I mean, we talked about those guys already. Buddy Johnson. The Steelers would certainly like one of those guys to step up. I think that's why they drafted Buddy Johnson, because Ulysses Gilbert's just too hurt, and Marcus Allen's a converted safety. But I look, as a Steeler fan, I love this group because I think it's 3 deep, and I think you have a guy in Devin Bush who he is. It's just a matter of time for me when he turns that corner and becomes the monster in the middle.
Yeah. So I'll try to make this as quick as I can. For me, the Ravens number 1. Like in the case of Patrick Queen, because I heard all the slander. I think Patrick Queen thrown out in a very hard situation in the case that Baltimore asked a lot of Patrick Queen. And I think he did okay job. Again, I criticize him, especially in coverage. Now he does do a lot of man coverage when he goes in coverage. Also, the Ravens had the unfortunate situation where our D line was out for a good 4 or 5 weeks, which I think hurt his play a lot during those weeks. As we stated, bad D line hurts the linebackers the most of any other position. But he does have the lapse that I think he tries to react more than just so one of the things the Ravens do a lot is, do your job, right? And I think most teams do your job. Don't over pursue. He tends to over pursue. He will get sucked in sometimes in bad situations. And then you can see when he sometimes goes after something and midway to his process, he's like, oh shit, what am I doing? This is not what I was supposed to do.
That's every play. That's literally every play. That's every play.
It's not every play. He's a really good pass rusher. He is a very good pass rusher. He knows how to bait the guys, either the O-line or the O-lines, tight ends, and running backs. He knows how to bait them. And I don't know if the guy has butter, but the guy seems to struggle, meaning whoever's trying to block him, he seems to struggle to stop him when he's pass rushing. On the running game, he's solid too. He's pretty solid on the running game. Again, but he does tend to oversue, which doesn't make me happy. And then the passing game is where he struggles the most. No doubt, coverage is not his forte. Who was it? I think, Kansas City, man. Kansas City exploited him with the running backs badly in the passing game. So definitely he needs to improve that. Now, if I go to LJ4 is a solid dude. Patrick Queen plays every effing down, as I said before. Patrick Queen does not get out the field, which I think also is not into the benefit of his, because I think he should be pulled out certain occasions. LJ4 should get a little bit more playing time on the other side, because LJ4 hard. So for the Ravens, they went basically Patrick Queen and then LJ4. Sometimes Chris Board also play a lot. Because Ravens basically are trying to transition into a more faster linebacker. And Chris Board, Patrick Queen were faster. Also, they'd like to put Levine in certain packages as the linebacker position. And Malik Harrison when there's more of a thumper, run-stopping linebacker that needs to be. So I think the core for the Ravens is strong. Oh my God! Now let me put this.
I think that's an exact quote. I mean, we can't rewind the YouTube right now because we're live, and I'll listen back afterwards. But I think that was an exact quote. Chat, correct me on that one.
Oh,
I think you said they should bench him. No, they should take him off the field. I think you said they should bench him.
I think linebackers should be rotated. Yes, I think he plays every snap. Anyway, overall, I think the Ravens core 1 through 4, maybe to 5, you include Levine. They're all very solid, right? I conceded the Bush, in my opinion, both healthy is better than Patrick Queen. And I think the world of JOK. I think JOK is going to be a great linebacker too. But to be fair, I've been consistent in this throughout the ranking. So that's why I have the Ravens number 1. I think overall their core, like if Patrick Queen gets in an injury and Devin Bush gets to an injury, I think the rest of the linebacking core for the Ravens is better than the Steelers one. I do think healthy both. Again, Bush is better, but coming off an injury, we'll see how he is. But I have my Ravens number 1. I don't want to delay this. Let me go over how the rankings ended up. Steelers and Browns tied for number 1 for the inside linebacking core. And then we have Ravens number 2 and Bengals number 4. Next week, guys. I'm sorry?
Another dub for the Browns.
So the overall score, if you want to know on defense, is Ravens and Browns. No, I'm sorry. Steelers first right now on defense.
We got safety coming next. It'll stay.
Very, very close.
Offense matters more. Than
very close. Ravens and Browns tied for number 2.
Really?
And then you have the Bengals last.
All we have left is safety, right?
We gotta do next week.
By the way.
Next week we're gonna do coaching if you guys want coaching in front office, and then we finish our safety.
No. But think about the rankings there. If the Browns and Ravens are tied right now, then I mean, I don't think. Look, I don't want to
I'm
spoil
not
the
gonna
safety
get
show,
meta.
but I don't think the Ravens are going to get higher than 4 on that. Yeah, so that means the Browns are going to end up being a better defense on
By the
paper.
way,
I don't know. After the day, Sonny might have the Ravens safeties number 1.
You saw what he did with linebacker today.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything can happen at this point. I'm ready to hear about Deshaun Elliott.
I would just like to say, since this is the Patrick Queen de-appreciation show, I just want to mention that somebody was ahead on this last year.
Yes, on the draft show. Quincy called this on the draft
year. I told y'all that this would be the situation that would go down. Oh, Quincy, you're crazy. Quincy, he was clear. Did you watch the Clemson game, Quincy? I watched it. The Browns drafted 2 players off that defense.
Look, you know how they say about guys sometimes, like, oh, he just started playing football like 2 years ago or whatever. If you could convince me that Patrick Queen just started playing football like a month ago before the tape I watched, I mean, he has a long way to go.
We'll see this year. I will say this year he definitely. No, there's no excuses. He needs to perform, right?
Yeah.
This is the year. So we'll see.
Here too.
So, guys, anyway, 1 hour, 30-minute show. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Remember, on Twitter, we're putting the polls. I think I took it out, but essentially, the pollsters had Steelers, Browns, Ravens, and Bengals.
Oh, we used the poll to break ties, right? So actually, Steelers win this one. So Steelers 1, Browns 2.
Okay, and then next week.
No, this wasn't a tie. You're the only one that went Steelers, and then
one thing I want to know
Ravens
is
and
how
then 2
did the
Browns.
Ravens get second because there was a tie at first? Shouldn't it still be third?
It's Steelers 1, Browns 2, Ravens 3, Bengals 4. Right?
The overall
For what, linebackers?
Yeah.
Because we're tied today between the Steelers and Browns at the top.
No, we weren't. No, Sonny went Ravens 1.
It was tied at the top.
It can't be a tie. It can't be a tie. Sonny, you went Ravens 1, right?
Yeah.
So okay, that can't be a tie. Tony went Steelers 2, Steelers 1, right?
Yeah, there can't be a tie.
And then me and Ace went Browns. The Browns won. Yeah, 2, 1, 1.
No,
because he had the Browns at 4, right? Or you had the Browns at 3?
Right. So look. I'm gonna go.
First place vote mattered the most.
Like Ravens, man.
I don't know. I think we
this
gotta have the fans in this one.
Browns got 2 number 1 votes, 1 number 2, and 1 number 3. The Steelers got 1 number 1 vote and 3 number 2s. And the average was 1.7.
And they got 2 number 2 votes because, listen, I don't know why you guys want to cut the fans out of this. Let the record show that Tony is trying to include the fans here, and my co-host here, for selfish reasons, want to exclude you from the show. I would never do that to you.
Let me. Look, the Browns just passed them. No, I'm just joking.
No,
but it's close.
No, I thought the way we've been doing it, whoever gets the most first place votes is first place.
For me, you can't say the Ravens were in second place and the Bengals were in 4th. And use
No. I said third. Sorry, third.
Okay, gotcha.
It's a tie.
I'm still contesting this result here.
Shenanigans? Oh, you're calling shenanigans now? Kind of like the defensive line one. Then
no. We're not equally waiting. We're not equally waiting 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place votes against each other. No, that's not how that ever works.
I think it does on AFC North.
I think the tiebreaker should be whoever gets the most first.
The tiebreakers who got the most first place votes.
Of course.
That's who got the most first place votes.
If
we came to a 2-2 tie here, if Sonny wouldn't have went rogue and put Ravens 1 here, because of
this is true. This is true, Quincy. If Sonny had just
yourself, Tony,
all he had to do
on Patrick Queen, but you made him have to put his chest out and defend his boy, so he split the vote.
Hey, no, I love it.
First place votes. Browns win.
There's no way Sonny was going to put the Steelers 1. There's absolutely no chance.
He was probably
no chance. He would have switched his rankings around and put the Browns 1.
You convinced everybody else to be so down on Patrick Queen that he was like, I gotta up this. I gotta balance this.
Yes.
I can't give him 1.
Essentially, yes, you're right. You're right, Q. You're completely correct. Because I was not about to get the slander on Patrick Queen. I was not going to allow it. And even if I had to take a little bit of hit, I was not going to let that happen. So, yes, Ravens won. I'll keep it. I'll keep it like that. Anyway, Guys, so right now I think coaching and front office or GM will be next year, but we might go safe. That's why you have to make sure you're subscribed. You have to make sure you hit the bell. You have to follow us on Twitter because we put the call out there, and that way you can participate. By the way, the poll will be open until tomorrow, so go get and vote in there. Ace, where they can find you, man.
You guys can find me at New Stripe City on YouTube and on Twitter. Got some new stuff going on there. I actually have some Sims going as well, so be sure to check those out. It's actually used with updated mod and stuff like that, so some pretty cool stuff going on there. But then you can also find me here at AFC North Talk, so please be sure to tap in.
Cute.
Find me on youtube.com/Quincy Carrier or Twitter at Quincy. I'm always posting fun stuff, fun posts, fun tweets, everything else. So, check me out there. It's a better follow than Devin Bush. I would say that.
Tony.
We're not. Listen, no, listen, don't follow Devin Bush on Twitter. I will agree with Quincy on that. You can find me, man of the people. Okay, I speak for the chat. You can find me on Twitter at Steeler Country. You can also find me Tuesdays on Locked On Steelers with my friend Chris Carter. You can, of course, find me here every Tuesday, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time, as we're talking about the AFC North. And you can also find me on my YouTube channel, Steeler Country with Tony Serino. Oh, and also you can find me on Quincy's channel. I think tomorrow that video is going up. That's a fun one. We talk about the Steelers and their fight for.
Look at this. Look at the Browns putting the call in to make sure.
Yeah, hold on, guys. Voting has not closed. Tony's trying to close the polls.
Don't do this.
Yeah.
I was on a show last year that pulled this crap.
Voting has 15 hours left.
Look,
Voting has 15 hours left. The Browns are only down by 2.2 points, guys. So don't let this man fool you.
All right.
I'm just saying. It's still open. Anyway, also, we just made it to 600 during the show. 600 followers on Twitter. Thank you, everybody that's following the show. Also, for me, you can follow me, SCG Sports everywhere, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, IG. Follow me there. And obviously here, we had 2 more shows of rankings, and that puts us almost all. Whoa. What was that, Jesse? Oh.
Here we go. Oh, Bengals fans.
Let's go.
Make sure you follow us because it's going to be good the next 2 shows. I can already tell both are going to be highly contested. And after that, we might take a break before the season starts.
Corvette. That's all I'm going to say.
Put that belt. Thank you, everybody, for following us, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.
Have you ever? Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.